All right, Between Two Wheels podcast. This is Tyler Janke. We're going to break down the last 8 laps to go in the Golden State Race Series Crit, the Masters 35 plus 123 on the 4th of May in Rancho, Cordova. So a lot of players here, great field. We had a really good turnout for the weekend and especially for this race as well. So last 8 laps here, this is when things start to go. I think we're looking at a bell just had rung for and there's my teammate Chris Flower, who had a stellar weekend, not in the results necessarily, but showing her strength overall. Anyway, come up with some double preem laps, and they were for points for sprint jersey. So guys, we hadn't had any. It's for the 2-day Omnium. The next day we used some of this course, go in the opposite direction for a circuit race. And here we have Michael Claudio, some Peet's team. I think that's Jay Newton over there, and they do play into the overall coming up here in a little bit. Richie Boss of the Reno team as well. So look, we came out to this race. This is R4R teammate over there. We came out to this race, and my teammate, data-driven athlete, and we didn't have very good participation. So there's 3 of us. There's John NOVIKOFF, who's leading in the actual race best area rider for the 35s, and our team was tied for the lead for the team, and we only had 3 of us coming in. So myself, Tyler Janke, Chris Flower, who you know from this podcast, and then John NOVIKOFF, our sprinter extraordinaire. So we were doing what we could to cover the move. So I was up here ready for this preem sprint, and then the guys on the outside there, they kind of hit the turbo coming into this sprint finish. We have Chris Baker trying to get up to him, and it was GRUNDMAN, David GRUNDMAN, who rides for the Peet's team. Peet's then Jay Newton and these guys kind of getting in here, just kind of shutting it down. And they ring the bell again for a double one. And this is what happened, and it allows for the final break to actually get up. And look at all these Peet's riders. There's a bunch of them up here. So they had a little gap coming around the corner, as you saw there at the final corner. And then there's John NOVIKOFF, my teammate, who we're looking for the finish. So they came around the final corner. They had a little bit of a gap, and they held it to the line. And it just, instead of closing it down, they rang the bell again. So these guys took the opportunity and kept it on. And you can see just a tiny little bit of a gap up here. And as the data-driven athlete team, we just don't have a huge contingent for this race. I felt like crap most of the day, but my responsibilities were to try to keep John in the mix. Chris's responsibility were to go in a break. And then John and I, kind of a caveat to that too, was to look for moves to go to get into to be represented. And I think for the most part, except for the the actual big one on the day, the final one here, we did a pretty good job. So then you have some teams. So who's up the road right now? Well, we'll get a little bit clearer picture here in a little bit, but it is, I believe, Michael Claudio. You have David GRUNDMAN for Peet's. Claudio's with ThirstyBear. He didn't have any teammates. Jeromy COTTELL with Touchstone, and then I think Richie Voss for the SunPower team. So those guys are up the road. And with that being the case, there's certain teams aren't going to chase, which the big one there is Peet's. Peet's has got a real big contingent. Touchstone has a good, you can see some riders over there on the right in the white jerseys. Then you have the Peet's coming in here. So who's not up there? Well, you don't have Vi, Josh Wood's teammate. You don't have Folsom Bikes over there. You don't have a data-driven athlete. You don't have R4R. You don't have Cognition. All guys with plenty of firepower and to help. So now we're coming into 6 to go here. And the break is kind of just barely off the front, and they're just kind of trying to establish themselves a little bit more. And with some of this confusion of, okay, we just had another preem, who's going up the road? No one's really doing it. So I'm thinking, okay, it's got to be our time. I don't want to wait too long. So I need to get up to the front. Here's John over here on my left. And I need to get up to the front and start doing some work, see if these guys will help. Because if it comes down to a sprint and I've helped too much, then John's going to be on his own for the sprint. In hindsight, that's really what I should have put more effort into the bringing this back than I did, because he can surf wheels just fine himself. And it's better to at least have him sprinting for the win, even if he's got to surf wheels, than it is for him to be sprinting for a field place of 4th or 5th or 6th with my help. So, we're going to see what happens. So I'm looking for some help here. So the Peet's team isn't going to do anything. Cognition should. The guy right in front of me Cameron Walker, he should, because he doesn't have a teammate up there, and his teammate Josh Wood is a really good finisher. And R for R, I don't think that's them at the front. That might be Sierra. We'll see who that actually is. But Cognition guy right in front of me, they should be able to help as well. So yeah, that was a Reno Audi guy, and he's him as well. But there's a lot of players in this field that just aren't necessarily willing or interested in doing it, and it takes a lot of effort. So at this point, I'm deciding, okay, we can sit here for a while. Look, as you can see, this is part of the problem too. This road, very, very wide. So even if you're doing a sprint finish and you've got your lead out going, you can get overwhelmed because there's so much room on the road. You shouldn't have any trouble taking lines you want, or as you can see, I'm sweeping around there. In lines you want, or to take an alternative route. I mean, look how wide this road is. You can be 30 across. We could probably fit the whole whole field almost sideways in here. Okay, so I think we're 4 or 5 to go. Peet's is not going to be pulling through. So here's where I decide we're going to start putting in an effort. And I looked at Shaun Bagley's camera. So I just go to the front and start to do a hard tempo, but I'm not attacking. And 400 or 500 watts. Pulled this around to the start finish, and I saw Shaun Bagley's video. He had a good one, and it looks like there's a gap that gets created, about 4 riders that he has to shut down here. Now that's not great, so I should probably have pulled back a little bit, but I was also thinking, okay, if I get this up close enough, and we had a conversation with my teammate later on, John NOVIKOFF, if we get it close enough, he could just bridge up to that, even if it stitches it together and it makes it so that it's not still a brake's not there, that's perfectly fine. He should be able to rebound. Or if he does get up there and he's off with the brake, then that's not so bad either. So I think as you're coming around here, you can start to see the group just barely going around the corner. So we've actually got closed quite a bit down. But like I said, I strung the field out to the point, and it's not extraordinary power here. It's just I'd gone hard enough from a lull that it broke it up a little bit. People weren't filling in gaps. And with that, then they're taking energy and they're not willing to be pulling through. So this is a confusion part here. Talked to this guy afterwards at Cognition. He thought our teammate was up the road, so he didn't want to pull us up there. Well, that doesn't make sense to me. One, why am I on the front for almost a lap here? And then Chris takes over. So when we're doing a concerted effort for a lap or so, why would we do that if we had a teammate up the road, especially if we're splitting it up hard enough where it's not just easy tempo? And his teammate, Scott Cox, is a really good finisher, and why wouldn't you just jump in and help? So, and part of this was, so I go to the front. I am very tentative to, okay, I want to help, but I need to, like I said, reserve this for John, and I don't want to be too dead. And as I did it, I went hard enough to try to help, to wear myself out, but not hard enough to bring it back, and just hard enough to wear myself out where I'm not very much help in the sprint. So I did everything incorrect, and it didn't work out. And then as it helps, other guys start to get in the mix, but we're not for other teams. Josh Wood here, his teammate takes to the front. We have one of the CLIF bar guys, not this one right there, JD, but his teammate actually helped a little bit. We had the SP2 Life guys helping out, but none of us were doing it in a concerted effort as far as coordination. So, that's, as you can tell, actually the brake ends up staying away here, and they start clawing away their advantage a little bit. Although we kind of come into them closer on the last lap, as you'd expect, with some higher pace on the last lap. So Ronnie, talked to him. He said I've been pronouncing his name wrong. So Ronnie Levitt up here, I believe that's him. Maybe that's not. It's hard to tell when you're just looking at the ass of a Peet's rider. So Cognition. I think I'm not sure if they even help with the pacing on the front here. What is that? Like 2 or 3 to go, and the brake at this point is getting away, and I'm not helping much on the front, so I need to get back up there, do what I can. Once again, a great day out there in Rancho. We'll have to break down all the races because there's a lot that went on. The next day on the circuit race is a little bit more windy, and played into some team practice. We had Chris up the road as well. So now I've got to start getting in position. I see my teammate John up here, and I need to see about maybe helping out, getting him in this right spot for the sprint. Because as you can do in this race, we actually see is Josh Carling of SP2 Life misses the break, but he wins the field sprint. And actually, Bagley has a great shot of him coming over the top on the last lap, last corner, and he wins a field sprint. Then he wins a field sprint the next day and wins the overall. So you're not out of it if you miss the break the first day. It doesn't help. And I blew it for John here on this day as well. Like I said, I'd had the greatest day of legs. I'd gone up to the front and did a hard pull. I'm coming back. I'm still trying to save for him for the end, and I've drifted way too far back. And it's just not the best weekend for a teammate that you could be. But John's an amazing person that flies around and gets in the position that he wants. So we'll still see if there's something I can help salvage here. Oh, Matt Tufts kind of dove in on our line there. This is what you have: wide open roads, and it allows for people to do some diving in on corners, which is the only time you're really going to be stopped up. So I'm going back up here to the front. I think we got 2 to go, and I'm deciding it's still time we can try. Maybe. Josh Wood right over here on the left. Vi, he's a speed skater. I think he's got credentials for. So now I'm going to just follow the SP2 Life guy up here, up to the front. And this is when he does some of his work as well. Cliff bar guy coming off the front. You had another JD over here, another cliff bar rider. Everyone's Matt once again taking a inside line on the corner. I don't know who's driving the front at this point. All right, so see the SP2 Life take up the move. So I'm going to go and try to help out with him, at least get on his wheel and see if, he does a nice big move is here as well. Nice smooth. He's just ramping the pace up. As you can see, once again, the road is huge and plenty of room. So we're doing 26. This is, we're needing to, it's a little bit too late, but he does a good job of the pace for him at this point is twofold. One, taking the pace up so that you can possibly bring the break back, because he's still got some teammates back there that can help Josh Carling. And the second is to just keep it strung out, because as I said, these roads are so wide. If you at least keep it, look, and he's up from 26 to 28 coming around here. So if he keeps the pace up, it helps Josh stay in position, because Josh is always going to be in the right spot. So it helps him from all these surges that can be really problematic on this course. And so I'm taking my chance here, and we come through. We're going to have 2 to go. And, I know it's like, okay, kind of a last-ditch effort, and I'm hoping someone, like he did a long pull, nice hard pull. So I'm trying to do the same, 28, 29, still pulling off hard. And now I'm flicking for the next guy to come, because once again, I'm trying to save a little bit for help of John, because 2 to go. And no one wants to come through. No one's helping. So my power's going down. Finally, someone's coming through. But look, R for R, they have plenty of guys up there. There's my teammate John. He was up on my wheel. SP2 Life's going up there. R for R doesn't really, I don't know. They're not. Revs, they had a guy that finished pretty good, and I guess Mark Tucker was kind of sick, so he wasn't able to exert himself to the best. All right, so 2 to go. At this point, you're going to see surging going all around. And what's my tactic here? Well, with my teammate John, what I really want to do is take him through the last corner, 1-2. And I'll just give you a spoiler. It doesn't happen. We did that a few years ago. We almost got there, and he got passed last year, actually, right in the line. But we had a great system. So I attacked, a few meters before this corner, maybe 150 meters or so before this corner. So now shit's going to start really driving up. And we're going to come into the last corner and 1 to go, and it's going to be, I'm too far back. It's going to be I'm going to have to put a lot of energy out in this last lap just to get up to John and to try to lead him out. And you got all these other teams, as you can see here. You could go 6-7 wide. Everyone's coming through. It's Pasco, some Sac Golden Wheelman. You got Cliff Bar. Vi up there. I think this is a Folsom Bikes guy. So this is where I make a mistake. I try to dive in, as we had talked about, and I get cut. So I I lose. Look at all those places I lost after I just got them. I was up there with the Peet's guy, and you know, I'm what 10, 15 back now. So that was a move that I probably should have jammed into the corner ahead of him. Not like taking a bad line, but sprinted hard into the corner so that I could have passed him right before and gone through without any problem. Now look, it's so wide here that I should be able to get up there, but I'm gonna have to expend a lot of energy to do so. So we're looking at 400 watts. It's going outside. I mean, I got to get up there. So maybe follow an R4R. And then I'm gonna blow my sprint here. There's John up on the left. I'm gonna try to grab him and take him around the corner, and I just suck. Okay. Come on, John, I yell. And at this point, you know, I didn't get to him and to the corner fast enough. So I'm gonna have to try to hold on to these guys, at least in this spot, and put him in his best position as I can. You can still pass people in the corner. So trying to kick up there, and you'll see around the corner JD kicks here. They gap off of me, and I just let them go. So here's the kick, here's the sprint, and you get a better view from like Bagley and his video. So I don't know, I was like 20th or so. John ends up 9th, and that's what we had for the crit. So top results, you had David GRUNDMAN, Richie Voss, Jeromy, COTTELL, CLAUDIO, Josh Carlin, John BERGMANN, and that was the race. Hope you enjoyed it.